Greetings, my name is Michael Cook. I'm an application developer, design artist, and system engineer. In this particular video, I'm going to cover a script dedicated to ransomware, or at least emulating what it can do. And you know, back in whenever I made this file, October 26, 2020, I came up with this derivative of what can be found at this link right here. And so that's going to be really hard for a lot of people to see, but basically I was able to take the script that it's seen there and be able to create what's called a fileless malware. Anyway, all of these classes here sort of play into the thing that is seen in that picture, and I've been messing around with it today. I did make a recording earlier, but because I kept playing around with this particular script here, I decided to record a new video and shorten it to some extent. So in let's see, what I'm going to do is because I don't want my host system to be like affected by me using this particular exploit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new virtual machine. I'm going to name it desktop 1, store it in a different location. You can, if you want to follow along, you can store it wherever. And what I'm going to do is basically set up a Windows 10 instance that hasn't been spun up yet, and then get some stuff from the internet to launch that. Install from an operating system image, Windows 10 22H2. Go ahead and click next, and then that's going to go ahead and create the virtual machine. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it. And connect to it. And Windows 10 setup, 64-bit. So while that's going, I'm going to keep it minimized. Well, not minimized, but not full screen. I'll kick over the installation here, and then I'll talk about what's going on in this script here on the left. Because there's a lot to talk about, actually. So I don't have a product key. Windows 10 Pro. Accept the license terms. Next. Alright. So that should take about like 15 minutes or so for that to boot up. Or maybe slightly longer than that, I'm not sure. So let's talk about what's over here. Technically, I could get rid of a couple of these classes. I don't need them all. You know, the drive item and the drive list. I don't know why the 3 dots keep showing up in the wrong spot. Anyway, why don't I launch this and show what it does, right? And then what we do is comment those out, and then comment that out. So now what we're going to do is open this up, control, right? And you got a name, DNS, which is empty, NetBIOS, which is the same thing as the name, is domain, so it is on a domain, but it's technically it isn't. So it's trying to add on a DNS domain name, but it's not there. Anyway, username mcadmin, that's current username that I'm signed in as, and the principal. So that is the get type. Windows principal, and it is admin dot certificate. Why is this taking so long? Okay. I don't know what the hell it's doing. I'm not typing any of that in now. What the hell is going on? Alright, so the certificate's like an actual certificate. You got all that information there, which can be seen by the certificate to string. I don't know why it's suddenly acting like this. It's not normal. Alright, so there's that. And then the provider. Provider is basically the certificate with a bunch of additional stuff. So like the path is going to be like where I'm going to put altered files to. And then you got the AES provider, the key formatter, the key exchange, the key length, key, self. IV length, IV, and key exchange. Join like this. There we go. So anyway, yeah. So that's what all that does, and then drive output. So it's looking for all the PS drives and stuff, and the script that I showed in the screenshot, it does go to some length to get like I really shouldn't have like deleted it. Well, it looks for a bunch of different file types in a profile, and then the script, it is from like 7 years ago or something like that, 6 or 7 years ago, and what is basically fileless malware. It's like a ransomware attack, and basically the reason why I'm making this whole video and covering all of these classes and such. So basically, this is how it works. If I say get profile, it's going to load my profile. Right? It's going to see everything in my user profile. And if I want to get content, it's going to get all my content in my profiles. takes a minute to load. Well, when it's done, it'll be there. And part of what makes this rather high-powered is the fact that you could use this on an unlimited number of accounts and their entire profile and anything on the operating system. And it's pretty dangerous. But you know, as is, it's not going to do much without the program calling in memory correctly or whatever. I don't know why that's taking this long. It shouldn't be taking this long. Get content. Alright, so that's what it's supposed to be doing. And it's looking through my entire profile. It's not making any changes or nothing. But you know, it's gonna load everything into memory, into the function here. And if we wanted to start processing all of those files into I don't know, into ransomware. I am sort of tired. I've been working on this all day. Well, not all day, but for a good portion of the day, where you know, I made quite an improvement over the script that I wrote 3 years ago, and I was trying to figure out how to get it to be reversible, but I think I need to put some more thought into that. Yeah, it's not exactly reversible, and that's an issue. Oh, it probably is reversible, but I was going to come up with a couple of different methods to do this. So for each individual file that it's processing, you could turn it into a byte array by getting its content, turning it into a byte array. And then once you turn it into a byte array, then you can modify the byte value by a constant. So let's say every character, you're going to shift it by 128. And you do that for all of these files. It's going to mess up every single file, but at least you'll have a way to reverse it by running through all those files again. And then for each file, you turn it into a byte array. And for each byte in the array, you subtract the value of 128, and then you get the original data back. Whereas with the certificate, it's kind of, I don't know. It's pretty, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how it's able to do what it does. But you know, this is like looking through everything in my personal account, which is why I wanted to make this virtual machine and then do it on here. So while this is sort of going through all those files and the virtual machine, alright, so it's done. Content. See, so basically it's just getting a file system object. Or, oh, it's not actually a file system object. It is a file system object, but it's getting some of that information from the path, the string path or whatever. It's getting the date and everything on each individual file. See how many are in there, count. 26,278 files in my profile. That's a lot of files. Anyway, yeah, whenever this is done, then I can sort of show more about it. So those are the file items: mode, date, depth, name, full name, and then if I wanted to process all of these files into a where its format is changed, then I would pass it through this. And then what it'll do is it'll keep track of like the source path, and then it'll keep track of the target path. So the source path will be the file that it reads from. It's not going to modify the original file, although it could do that. And then once it has the source, the source path and the target path, then what it does is it sets it up for like a transformation, and that's what this is for. The stream writer is for like. Let me go down to the area where the provider handles all this. Process file. Okay, so crypt is basically creating a new object, the ransomware crypto item, and then the stream writer is for like opening a file stream to the target, and then it sets up the key to be able to write through the stream writer. The stream writer is essentially getting information from the provider. So the provider being like this. It's got the certificate, it's got the AES provider, it's got the key formatter, the key exchange, and the key length, key, IV length, IV, and then the output, which is basically a collection of all these. And yeah, I don't know. Creates a whole bunch of objects, and then sets the key size, block size, sets it to cipher mode. Definitely getting tired. Man, this thing's still going. Maybe it'll take longer than 15 minutes. Anyway, this right here is where all the magic happens. So I pass like one of these files to this as a parameter, and then like it'll come up with the target, and then it'll create the directory if it's non-existent, and then it'll create like a template for the crypto translation type stuff. And it opens the file stream to the target path, and it's going to create the file. It's going to add all of those items there, and then the transform is basically going to encrypt the it's creating an encryptor, and then the crypto stream is using the transform and the stream writer together in order to open a write buffer, right? And then looks for AES block size and crypt block size bytes, and then it's translating everything into a byte array, and then it runs through a loop where it'll try to open the stream reader, which is basically opening the source file, and then it iterates through all of the data in that file in order to offset it somehow, and then when it's all done, then it'll flush the final block, and it'll close the stream reader and the writers. If it encounters an error, then it's just going to catch it. It's going to say, it's not going to say anything actually, because I didn't program to do that. So if a file is currently open, then it's not going to modify anything, which is good. As I said, I'm sort of tired right now, but this looks like it is up. So let me just finish this. States. And then, yeah, so everything's really handled by that. I'm just sort of clicking through the prompts here. I realize that like this part isn't all that interesting. Oh man, but like I gotta set up this test lab, and then, you know, I could zip through like having to build this, but, you know, I'm trying to explain what's going into all this code here. So anyway, I think I did a pretty decent job of explaining all of that, but you know, all of these like objects are doing some like pretty intense algorithmic type stuff, and you know, the ransomware provider, that's what that is. At the end of this process, it's going to have everything there in the output, right there. It's going to have the original file path and then like the new file path, and you'd be able to see how much of the information has been translated once it runs through everything. So what I'm going to do is once this gets to the desktop, I'm going to install like, I don't know, Chocolatey, and then get VS Code up, and run VS Code, get GitHub repository saved on here, and then extract it, and then run this code, and then it's going to process all the files in that archive, and then I'll show you the before and after, and then I think that's going to do it. I really should have recorded this earlier. I was recording this earlier, but it was a lot longer, and I was sort of working on the code as I went. And now I'm just like really tired, yawning. I can't stop yawning. Anyway, in the original script, the guy from like Watch Something, what the hell was it? Watch Point, that's what it was.
Actually encrypted or not.
And Nate, before you actually start that, will you show that code also?
Or not.
I want to go to the spot where it's got that code that I was trying to look at.
It's going to run it in the background, and we'll come back and look at this file and see and kind of decrypt.
Where the hell
Next, the process, there's not going to be anything for us to close. You know, it's going to be what I call the silent killer. So, before...
And
there it is. Alright, so that does look like a pretty complicated amount of code right there. And, you know, at first glance it is, but at the same time, there's a lot of ways that there's a lot of methods that could be used to condense the amount of code that's there. And for what it's worth, what I did here was sort of compartmentalize what that script does. But that script really does a lot more with like get PS drive, and like it does have options for like running it on a network, which, you know, if you can prove that it's able to do something to a profile, then it's pretty easy to extrapolate that to like network drives or other PS drives or contents or whatever, and you know, it's still working. So why don't I do this? So, I'll talk about like some of this stuff. I really should have just saved this, like without modifying it, to the extent that I did with the classes. But anyway, everything revolves around this function encrypt file, right? And let me get this into this function encrypt file. All of this stuff is sort of smushed together, and it doesn't have the line breaks and stuff, but I've seen enough PowerShell code to know where, when, and where the line breaks are supposed to be there. And basically everything within that function is here. So from there all the way down to like here. That's a function that does the same thing as like the provider that I'm showing off. And like, yeah, it does look like a lot of code right there, but I've simplified it by writing all this code here. And you know, the drive item and the drive list is much less important than what's going on in I don't know. At first glance, it probably looks like I'm adding a lot of complexity to this thing, and I'm not. I'm actually simplifying it to a large extent, and I'm extending what it's capable of doing. And let's see, this thing's still working. Jesus. Yeah, I'm that tired. Anyway, it's getting a certificate, and it's saving it to a property named certificate. It's getting the AES provider, it's saving it to a property AES provider. It's getting the key exchange formatter, which is, you know, all these methods right here. What the hell? All these methods right here, or down here. Key exchange formatter. There's that. AES provider, there's that. And then get certificate, there's that. And get the key exchange. Key formatter, it's right there. It's going to create the key exchange by using the AES provider and the key. And what the hell is this mean? I forget what the heck that is. This name is no longer on there. That property is not there anymore. AES provider get type. Alright, then AX equals alright, and then once I got the key exchange formatter, wait, AES provider. Man, did I not do that? Oh, item, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, the key exchange is like really long key. Offline account. Well, I've been recording this 34 minutes. accept all that. Skip all that. Not now. Oh, man. Alright, so it was sort of like taking a while. Go to full screen here. We're in an enhanced session now. What the heck? What's this thing doing? Alright, so first things first. Since it's a new instance of a virtual machine, I have to set the service point manager. security protocol. That is TLS 1.2, and set execution policy, bypass. Yes, you could use force there to prevent that from coming up. And then install Chalklead from chalklead.org, and then I'll install VS Code, and then if I go into this, then I can install the PowerShell extension from the console. Hell. Let's install VS Code. I could run all this from like PowerShell, but I like to do it from Visual Studio Code, because then I can, I could even do it from the PowerShell ISE window.
I'll let you explain, Nate, what we're looking at here. What? Data is not important. Continue. We're going to start browsing. Download the zip, and I extract it where it is.
this as administrator, otherwise it won't work. Yes. I can go ahead and close that. So now it's going to extract it to that particular folder name there. All the files that are on the GitHub project. And the only purpose that is serving is just to provide some stuff for me to lock with the ransomware. Alright, so that's going to go ahead and basically do some of what's occurring on the master system. Man. Tell you, trying to do this when you're tired is not exactly going to be fun. Alright, so now that's there. Get profile. Get content. Oh man. Even though it's only got like one program and the extensions and like all the files in my GitHub project on this virtual machine, it does still sort of take a bit to do all this. It's a lot of files. All right. So now that that is all in the memory and stuff, now what I can do is I can say go ahead and process all, and basically take the same amount of time. It's not going to show all the file names. like it was before, but it does have a progress indicator there. I had to choose between either using write progress or using showing the file names and stuff. I could probably add in, I don't know. I don't think it's really on 1%. So that's there. Yeah, it's definitely past 1%. So it's not like update. I don't know why it's not updating. Slot.rank. What the hell? Stupid. Alright, so now if I open up any of these files, go ahead and try to open up that PDF. Oh no, something went wrong. We can't open this file. Oh no. Oh no. Whatever will we do? Whatever will we do? Since it just won't open the file. Alright, so if you look right here, I'll be able to open this file. This is the original. It's not supposed to look like that. This file is correct, but it's just the font is a little darker than it should be. Or yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so what it does is basically it moves it all to another location where it's changing it to the temp location and stuff. And all of these files, they have this little thing there, which is the key and the certificate. You know, normally that index file would be empty. So if I go to what is it, financial mean, that, let me go into this. Oh, there's nothing there. Oh boy. Then if I go into like this one, oh whoa, 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 buddy, whoa. And so that's the idea behind this fileless malware, right? It's adding the certificate and everything to basically each file. I think it is reversible with some effort or whatever, but it's spinning up like a self-signed certificate, and it's not saving the certificate anywhere except in the store. So you could theoretically reverse the encryption if you use the same certificate to get the data back. You know, because if it creates a self-signed certificate, then it's putting it into the certificate store. So if I go to GCI cert local machine and there's only one there. You know, it's using that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think I've exhibited what this ransomware sort of does. So all it's doing is just changing the, it's adding the certificate, but it's also like changing the alteration and the formatting of the data, right? So this original file, where? Here? Yeah, no, that's not the right one. This original file here. So there's nothing there. It's literally just a character 10, which I believe is like a end of line or character turn or line feed or whatever. And there's nothing there. And then after throwing the malware at it, is adding all of that crap there, and it's not meant to be like usable after that. And I think it's supposed to be reversible, but I have to figure that part out, and I'm not going to do that tonight. But yeah, so all of this stuff I could use instead of processing like the stuff in here, profile, content. Instead of like processing that stuff, could be processing the stuff in PS drives. So instead of looking for my profile, I'm gonna literally target like the file system. That's typically what you would want to target, stuff in a file system, but it could also be stuff on a network, which you're not going to see in here. I don't think it'll work for like certificate stores. It's not going to work for function or alias or variable. I don't think it's going to work for any of these or those two or that one or that one. So all those PS drive items, they're probably not going to work. But these two sure as hell will. You know, C drive and D drive, hell yeah, dude. Let's go ahead, attack everything. It's not going to be able to go after files that are currently open, which is good, because then, if a process has them open, then that's, in one way making it somewhat secure from this attack. Though I'll have to elaborate on this whole dynamic a little bit more in the not too distant future. For the time being, I'm going to go ahead and close that virtual machine. I'm going to shut it down, turn it off. Alright, and then, yeah, I realize this wasn't like the most nail-biting thriller video, but yeah, I thought it'd be a pretty interesting idea to go through all this and to show like what it can do. Right, and yeah, so that being said, if you liked what you saw, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe, and yeah, thanks for watching.